If they do that, they're going to be very, 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 very tough to beat.
Wilson! Oh! And we are tied!
Let's go! Call the fly slamma jamma.
And I don't ever let them forget where we come from.
Getting those phones out before we acting ignorant.
Zion Kris got his way through, and he may go! Kris is in! Houston leads out of nowhere!
Seventh heaven for Houston. The Cougars advance to their seventh Final Four.
Go Cougs! Let's go! It's no good! The dream remains alive for the Houston Cougars!
Welcome into another episode of Let's Rage Coogs, presented by the Saxenian family. We are coming off number 3 ranked Houston 78-74 victory over the Syracuse Orange in overtime in their first game in Vegas, the Players Era Festival. Join me as always, Dayon Dunlap, Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Before we get into the matchup, how are y'all doing on this Monday evening?
I'm dealing with allergies, but I'm all right.
I'm doing great, man. Sorry about that. I'm doing great. Another dub, good dubs, man. The seniors came up big for us, and another good close game. I think these close games is good for us early in the season.
This game really reminded me of what we had mentioned with Fluff earlier. I think it was probably 2 games back, but we talked about how the freshmen had played. They played really well, obviously. Today was a game where the veterans took over, like you said, Dayon. Emmanuel Sharp, Milo Huzan, they came up big in this game. 26 points each, led the way in scoring for Houston down the stretch. Not the cleanest game, not the cleanest finish when they're up 67 to 56, and Syracuse went on that 11-0 run to storm back and force overtime. Ultimately had a chance to walk it off and win it at the buzzer, but Houston's defense was able to hold, and then in overtime, the Cougars kind of got back in control and rhythm, and they did just enough to win. But this was a very, very tough battle. When we look at the final stats, final score, shooting-wise, Houston shot just 36% from the field. They shot 41% on their threes. Free throw shooting was when Syracuse goes back and they look at the stats for this game, that's going to be where they're going to feel they should have won this game. They were terrible from the free throw line, shot just 41% in this game, 12 of 29. Houston took advantage, and ultimately they were able to survive and come away with a victory day one in the Players Era Festival.
It's a win. 11-0 run for Syracuse down the stretch. Milo Huzan missed 3 straight threes after going 4 for 5 from 3 before that. Like he had, got out of his 3-point shooting funk. They were kind of passive down the stretch. I'm old school. I'd rather them attack, try to get to the free throw line and make free throws rather than take so many threes down the stretch. But the vets closed it out in overtime. Manuel got hot to start off, and the Milos hit the free throws to win the game. So you see the freshmen tonight was a game they played decent, but they played like freshmen. They had some moments of mistakes, some moments of mental lapses as well. Kris Gardner rebounded well sometimes, but was late on defensive rotations at other times and missed the rebound on a free throw miss. So, lots to work on. Tennessee on Tuesday.
Yep, a lot to work on, but good to see this game. Hold on, let me plug my charger up for my computer real fast. Sorry, guys. But like Kris just alluded to, the upperclassmen carried us well. And for me, it was good to see Emmanuel create offense outside of just settling for the 3. That's one of his big improvements for me as I watch him. He's been a catch and shoot guy throughout his tenure at Houston, and his ability to get inside, fake, show, and fade. And got to keep bucket. Made some good drives to the basket, get to the free throw line. That's going to be big for him. Excuse me.
Kris, what you think? You mentioned a lot of times,
I'd sneeze
especially you're good. You mentioned, Kris, the last 3 minutes where it seemed like Houston really their offense just slowed down. I don't know if they were trying to milk the clock. It seemed like they were, like you mentioned, settling a lot for jumpers, and then that led to some turnovers, and ultimately it came down to Syracuse being much more aggressive in those final 3 minutes when they went on that 11-0 run.
I like they don't have a low post threat when Kris Sinak is out of the game. A good, reliable low post threat. And he had too many breakdowns defensively down the stretch to piss off Kelvin to not have him in the game for offense. So JoJo is not reliable yet. They're trying to make him reliable as a low post offensive threat. And I understand that, trying to give him confidence to do that. But he's not that yet. So without that, they need to attack the basket, get into the paint, try to get to the free throw line, and score that way rather than just taking threes.
Yep, and kind of down the stretch, we were getting into it's like an Iverson cut when he pearls out. That's how we got the first basket in the overtime. Miles when the Iverson cut, he came back inside and drove inside. And I think in that second, in that overtime, they were going back to that action repeatedly looking to get an open shot, and then I think a couple times they just kind of didn't get the look. It kept the offense open. They had to settle for three. But to Chris's point, I mean, he hit the nail right on the head. When Kris and Nak is not in the game, we don't really have a low post threat. But to our advantage, when we went four guards, we have that floor spacing to be able to utilize it, and JoJo can just kind of get tips and putbacks. And I think Chris Hartwell, he got to make shots, but he looks taller. I wonder how tall is he in person, guys? He looks like he has a nice size. So is he like 6'6"?
Isaiah Harwell?
Yeah.
He's about 6'6". Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
he looked to have good size, but I mean, it was good to see Milo start making shots. I mean, that was big for him to start getting his shots well. And then when his shot is falling, he's able to attack the defense. He still looks a little bit indecisive in the pick and rolls because a couple of times he's 1 second late to get to it, just pull up where it's wide open there or a floater. I think he got one of his floaters blocked again. But overall, him and Emmanuel, I mean, they stepped up big, and we haven't had this type of game so far early in the year because Kingston has played so well, and really, my slayer Chris Kingston has played so well. So for him to kind of have an off shooting night, still had a good game full generalship wise, had a good number of assists. And Turner had too many turnovers, but we was able to cause 13 turnovers and get 21 points off of that turnover. That's something we talked about. I think this team does a good job of that when they get the turnovers, being able to run and finish and scoring off of that. So that was one of the keys. And then we knocked down free throws. And so, I mean, this is a game that I like to see. I think it's a confidence builder, just for us, the team. I mean, it shows like who we've been over the plethora of years. You can't just key on one guy and think you're going to stop this guy and beat Houston and beat us. And so to be able to win this game in this fashion with the seniors stepping up big, both 20 plus points, I think it was big. It was a good win.
I didn't like Milos getting dribbling into a trap. Or half court and sideline. He's a veteran. Don't do that.
Especially late in the game.
Late in the game for sure. So it's things for everybody to learn on. Kingston didn't shoot well for the first time this season. Milos did shoot well. So you're taking different things there. Kris Sinak is not a back to the basket, jump hook, low post threat. But he's a better option in the paint than JoJo is. Kris needs to not fade away on his shot and be more confident in himself, and even himself. When he backs it down, go up strong to get fouled rather than avoiding contact. He's going to, I mean, we're picking on him. Okay, he's a talented freshman, 6 games into his college career. He's going to get better. I think he'll be better tomorrow. And then he'll get better in December and on and on. That's the objective, is to get better. But without a doubt, UH needs to win the tournament.
No.
Hell no. They need 3 games and to get paid. That's what they need this for. Heck no. We need to win this tournament. No.
It seems like there's a lot of people in the comments talking about JoJo Tugler. Out of all the comments that I've seen, I think this is the best one when it comes to him. JoJo's still work in progress when it comes to offense. Needs 2 more years to develop into an offensive threat. Clearly not a natural scorer. I think the main problem here today, and we've seen a lot games early on in the season, he's still getting in foul trouble. And, it's one thing if they're constantly attacking and and he's getting fouls trying to protect the rim, but there's still a couple of occasions when he picks up just fouls that for lack of a better word, can be described as boneheaded at times, where he just a little too aggressive, which I don't know. It's give and take, right? You'd rather have to coach a player that's too aggressive and try to settle him down. But it's ultimately impacting him, and it's impacting the Cougars, because if he can't stay on the floor, you can tell such a difference. Just look at the last possession by Syracuse at the end of regulation when they try to walk off and win. He's just a human eraser. You can erase so many mistakes that sometimes, especially when you're playing, freshmen, it might be breakdowns in rotations. And right now, because he's not on the floor, you can tell the difference. He's struggling to stay on the floor at times so far early on in the season, which we've also seen from him in the past.
Well,
I think JoJo, like you said, it's not. I mean, I agree with you, but he needs to at least be effective in a dive on the pick and roll when he catches a dive. At least to be able to that short hook, short floater. I think he has to be at least be efficient in that. And then to your point with the foul, like his very last foul that he picked up after a missed shot, it's like a frustration foul. He's reaching in when he's not going to get the
Yeah,
rebound, when he should just get back. I think
yeah.
now those are the type of fouls that you upperclassmen, you can't pick up those type of fouls. Now it eliminates you from the game. Those type of fouls you cannot have. That's not a hard energy foul. That's a dumb foul. And
Yeah.
those he got to eliminate those for sure. But other than that, he has to at least be efficient in the pick and when he's diving, when he catching and pick and roll and dive, and be able to catch it on that short pick and be able to at least get to a floater like a short hook shot.
Speaking of which, let's welcome in Fluff. How are you doing, Fluff, on this Monday evening, Monday night? It's about to be 9 p.m. over in the East Coast Monday evening. How you doing, Fluff?
Man, I'm doing good, man. How y'all doing out there?
doing great, brother.
Great.
As Deion said, to get your thoughts on it too, JoJo has to stop with the bad fouls.
Yes, yes. A lot of them are after plays that might have didn't work out. So, he's kind of he's a little frustrated and making those type of fouls. But, you know, we got away from a scare tonight. We played a team that maybe we thought was maybe fared us a little more than they did.
And it's
Syracuse played tough. They're a good team. Orange.
well, let me say this. They played tough tonight. They played well tonight. Will they do it again? Will they do it tomorrow, the rest of their tournament? Will they do it in December, January? They showed, if I'm a Syracuse fan, this is what I expect them to play like the rest of the season. Don't be satisfied with this and say, hey, we took the number 3 team to the wire and then stink the rest of the year and have
Right.
this be their high water mark. So now they have to play like this the rest of the season for this to be something for them as a positive. Now, from a Coug perspective, saw the comment from one of the viewers said that Emmanuel said Syracuse played tougher than them. Well, that's a challenge to the Cougs. They're playing a team that's physical and tough tomorrow in Tennessee. Let's see the Cougs answer that challenge tomorrow. Each time the Cougs have felt like they've been out toughed, they bounce back in the next game. Well, next game is Tuesday.
Well,
Outside
no,
of,
yeah.
oh, go ahead, Flo.
Well, the beautiful sight to see was Ooze playing at the
Mm-hmm.
level he played tonight. So sometimes there's little wins in the pocket of the game more than actually winning the whole game. Sometimes there's little wins that's in the pocket of the game, and Ooze being able to get going with 20. What do you have? 24, 6 and 5, something like
26.
that.
26.
24,
26. He had
26, 6 and
final
5.
stats 26.7 rebounds and 5 assists.
Yes.
He did his thing tonight.
So that was huge for us going further down the road with still in a win that maybe we should have won by more, but that's the beauty of college basketball. These guys are D1 athletes. These guys come from good pedigree too. Do they have the number, whatever on the side of their name? No, but they wasn't going to lay down. They didn't, and we found a way to pull out the game. It still keeps us undefeated, and that's the end of the story for tonight. But tomorrow will be even a bigger test against the University of Tennessee.
And outside of Sharp, none of our other guards were really strong enough to be able to keep Syracuse guards out of the paint. When they put their head down and drove, They really got by. It was Kingston, whether it was Hartwell, or it was Milos, but really with just pure strength. Outside of Emmanuel, he was only really had to be able to sit down and keep his man in front of him on a strong drive.
Yeah.
And to back up Dayon's point, Syracuse 38-24 in the paint.
Wow.
I'm sure Coach Sampson and staff are right there on the board.
Yeah. I think that was probably the first bullet coming out of coming out of halftime or even at the end of the game that we were getting beat on the boards. But I see Cayenne might have needed maybe 7 more minutes. That might have been 20. You know what I mean? I think they could, if they played him a little more, they might have, things might have been a little different too.
Fluff, what are your thoughts on the last 2 minutes on offense for the Cougs? What went wrong?
I mean, I think it's just a lot of standstill. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do? Well, you got it. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, instead of, maybe sometime off the ball action, you know, takes the pressure off of the ball handler. So if something is going on the other side of the floor, a lot of times the defense has to react to that from that, and now we could beat the help a little better. There was a lot of standstill at the end of the game, like, you know what I mean? Well, who's gonna do it this time? And we can't. We seen in the national championship game that got us late in the game. That game, of the last 2 minutes when we played Florida for the national chip.
I like Sacco. Rebounded well. Had a putback.
14 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 14. He played 14 minutes. He played solid.
Got 7 rebounds. There were some positives to take from the game. There was areas of improvement for a lot of people. This is November.
Right.
And some of the comments are going a little bit too far in the negative for a game in November. From
What
the
they
fans.
say? What they say? I can't. I gotta look.
Trash performance from the bigs standing around. Well, we all said they stand around too much. That was the guards as well down the stretch. It wasn't the bigs. It was the guards too sit around. And as Fluff said, well, what are you going to do? Well, what are you going to do?
Well, that goes back to what we were saying the other day when we had to decide what are we gonna do late in the game, win, lose, or draw. What are we gonna do? We're gonna keep it in Kingston's hand. We're gonna keep it in Oo's hand. We're gonna run stuff for Sharp. Like we gotta come to some consistency of what we're gonna do at the end of the game. I think that'll get a lot of question marks out of the way in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game.
And Fluff, do you think that should be some one person every game, or should it depend on the matchup and the opponent?
I don't think it should be one person every game, but I think that it should be one person that dictate what person it is, if that makes sense. I don't think it should be like, yo, end of the game, last 4 minutes, we give it to Ooze, and that's it. Or last 3 minutes, we give it to Kingston, that's it, or Sharp, or whoever it is. I think we have to decide who's initiating the offense at the end of the game. LeBron might come down, but Luke is shooting it. You know what I mean? LeBron might come down with the ball, but Luke with the plays for Luka to shoot it. Or Luka to, create off the catch. So I said we have to figure out who's gonna initiate the offense, late in the game.
How important is it for Emmanuel to continue to produce points without catching and shooting? I think that was big for him. How important is that for that development for him throughout the rest of the season?
Well, I think that's very important because that means that everybody else can catch and shoot, and everybody else can catch and make plays if he's making plays. Now, if somebody should be talking to him about where the reads are once they really start collapsing on him in the paint. Once he, keeps scoring as we know he can. Now, the read is on this side, or if you go left, the guy from the corner is raised it to the wing, turn back, hit that guy on the wing, like just knowing where all the reads are after they start even doubling him even more as the season goes.
Real quickly, first I want to shout out everybody that's taking the time to join us on this Monday evening. We have a good crowd for this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. If this is your first time, this is Let's Rage Coogs presented by the Saxenian family, the original Houston postgame show. We're here after each and every single men's basketball and football game. So we will be right back tomorrow following Houston, Tennessee at about the same time. To talk about everything that happens in that game. We also like to say thank you to today's secondary sponsor, which is Star Pizza, with multiple locations throughout the Houston area. Star Pizza is your go-to stop before and after the game. Be sure to check them out online at starpizza.net, on social media on X at Star Pizza HOU, Star Pizza Houston, Texas on Instagram. And we got to give a shout out to R. Stewart. He says this is the first time on Let's Rage Coogs, and we appreciate the shout out. And come back tomorrow. Like I said, we're here after each and every single men's basketball game. So this is only the beginning. We got a long way to go, hopefully, until that first Monday in April for UH's Let's Rage Coogs editions.
Hold that thought, Andy, because let's be real. Let's be honest. Cougs win the chip. The show will be Tuesday. Because we're going to be too full to do a show on Monday night. At least I am.
That Monday night, that's Rage Coogs might just be, you know what, we're share live stream and see whatever capturing, and we'll have the real show on Tuesday.
Well, do we have to win this to get the meal, or how does that work? Or do we get the meal just for participating?
The winner gets the extra $1 million.
But every team gets a share of $20 million, correct?
The Cougs. I think this year is the last year everybody gets $1 million just for participating. Next year, the Big 12.
So we got to win it. We got to take that back. We got to win it.
to get the extra meal. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you get a meal for coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
You get an extra meal for winning.
And I think part of it is point differential. So they're going to beat Tennessee by like 25 tomorrow to have a chance to do that. So, I mean, Tennessee won by like 25 today. So, you know, well, heck, the Cougs do win tomorrow. They'll be 2-0. Tennessee's 1-1. So that'll take care of that. I want
Not if, Chris. Win, Chris.
Say it. Put it. Talk.
Win we win. We win.
Cougs will win tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be a different performance. Different guy will step up tomorrow. I'm confident in that.
I like the fallback on Kingston. You know Kingston. Come on, everybody that watches Let's Rage Coogs, and everybody that knows about the Cougs, they know Kingston Fleming is my favorite player on the team right now. But I'll say this. I like how he was still versatile in a lesser point game. Like, meaning he was able to get 9.6 assists, 6 rebounds, and he was still like effective even though he wasn't scoring a lot. You know what I mean? Like, that's big for us too. Like for Ooze to feel like, okay, I could do my thing too. You know what I mean? So if we could get those three on the same page at the same time, that's lightning.
You know, he missed some runners tonight that he has made thus far this season. That happens. You know, different guys. The vet stepped up tonight, as the viewers stated earlier in the show. Other guys will learn from this. I'm looking forward to Tennessee tomorrow, and we'll go from there. We'll discuss tomorrow's game. We'll discuss Wednesday's game, and the beauty of Let's Rage Coogs, the beauty of Fluff. You saw it. We can talk about it if y'all want to real quickly, then we can get back to the game. The agreement the conference has with the Players Era Festival that will pay the Big 12 basketball teams at least $50 million for the next 6 seasons. That's a big deal.
Come on in Houston. Don't get so caught up in the high school players. Don't get so caught up in the Big 12. We love the Big 12. But just if you're a big time recruit, look how much money we got. Come on down. We take care of you. We make sure you're good. You know what I mean? That's what's big with the whole thing. Is like Coach Sampson said, man, we gotta win this thing, and this is big for us because we gotta pay the players big money. So that's super big time. And I'm happy that this is the vibe right now. I know people have different feelings about, you know, the players and the pay for play, but I'm super happy that these kids are getting these opportunities, especially at the University of Houston.
No doubt. And as long as the Cougars are in the top 8 in the Big 12 standings, they'll be in Vegas.
Guaranteed a spot.
Say that again.
Well, no, I was just gonna say you said they're guaranteed a spot, but then even also the Houston Chronicle article that you sent us earlier talked about the agreement. Houston's kind of locked into this. Vegas players are festival as long as A. Sampson is at the helm of the program, correct?
Well, Kelvin is he was one of the first ones to make this happen. One of the first coaches to say yes. So I think that'll help. So I do wonder if, because he said it, one of the organizers, the CEO said it, that Houston will be in the Players Era Festival as long as the Sampson's in charge. Well, is that different than the agreement with the conference between and Players Era? So is that 8 more teams from the Big 12 that will be invited to participate in the Big 12? So is that 9 Big 12 teams will be in it every year?
Yeah. I think it's guaranteed 8, and then if Houston's consistently in, that could be an extra team. But
Come
I
on
mean,
now. Let's be real.
they'll be in
Barring
it.
something
They'll always be
unforeseen,
top
Houston
8.
Cougars are not in the top 8 in the Big 12. I mean, really remote. Really, really remote.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be top 2 every year, for sure.
I think that's
And
more
that's
likely than the Cougars not being in the top 8. Yeah.
I mean, true. It's fair to say UH helped build this event, because then once UH said they were participating, you heard a lot more buzz from the top tier programs participating in it.
And let me say this. I think I said it on our last basketball LRC. The next year's event would have at least 30 teams in it. I said that here on Let's Rage Coogs. So,
Yeah.
folks, you get the info here on Let's Rage Coogs. It's not just the national folks who know hoops. We do too.
For sure.
But Dan, your thoughts, man, about the conference getting at least $50 million over the next 6 years for men's basketball?
I mean, I think it's big. I think it's monumental. I mean, especially for Houston not having a budget as some of these other Big 12 schools do. And so anything to help build our budget and help put more money in the kids, athletes' pockets, so I should say, I think it's good. But I like the comment. I mean, we helping establish it. And so, I mean, I agree.
Is
And
JoJo's draft stock strong without offensive prowess? Not first round strong, no.
mm-mm. Real quickly, going back to one comment about how huge this is for the Houston program, it's something that Calvin Sampson told reporters during his availability before they left to Vegas. But of course, it's still a program that they've done a lot, but they're still not up there when you consider the top tier programs. And considering where Houston, what they've been able to do with this year's recruiting class, we talked about how highly well the freshmen have performed early on in the season for Houston. But in order for them to continue to do that, they're going to continue to have to raise funds. And tournaments like this is an opportunity where they can make a lot of those funds, where it's not necessarily guaranteed from donors year in and year out here at the University of Houston. Just being flat out honest.
And coach is big on, he believes in donor fatigue. He doesn't want to have to keep going to the same folks over and over again, year after year, asking them for money, because at some point that well runs drier, if not dry completely. So it's great to have other sources of revenue coming in to the program.
And let's just be real. Every year, every time it goes up, the cost to be at that level continues to rise and raise.
How many games are we guaranteed? I know we got Tennessee?
3. Everybody has
3 guaranteed games.
3.
Everybody's guaranteed 3. So you win your 3, you win it?
No.
So then you win your 3, and then you advance.
So there could be potentially a 4th game?
The 2-0 teams, it'll be determined based on point differential, where they finish in the top 25 poll. Fluff says he can't hear us. I don't know what's going on. Is that the case, Fluff? You said he can't hear us? Well, he can't hear us. But yeah, if so the Cougs go 2-0 with a win over Tennessee, but not have the best point differential than the top 2 teams, and they won't be playing in the title game for the $1 million. They could finish 3-0 and not get the $1 million.
Fluff is having audio issues. We can hear Fluff. I would let me see if this works. If I can if I kick him and then he comes back on. Gray Beanie, shout out to the TNT broadcast. TNT has done a good job with their presentation. Obviously, this isn't Big 12 exclusive. This is the national event, but I feel like they've done really well with all their. I wonder if it's like a byproduct of them losing the NBA contract and TV media rights deal, but I feel like they've done really well with their presentations in other sports so far this year, obviously with the Big 12 and football, and now this year so far with the Players Era Festival tournament. Fluff, can you hear us now? No, I don't think he still can't hear us.
It's part of it's a byproduct of TNT losing the NBA, and it costs less money to have Big 12 and the Big East college games on the network, but it's a boost for those conferences. But now that college basketball, college football games from the Big 12 are on TNT, on Turner Sports, it's up to the fans of those Big 12 schools to watch the games, to generate that rating bump, to show other corporations, hey, Big 12 football on TNT, Big 12 basketball on TNT is getting big time ratings. So I need to start spending some money over there. So it's going to take a while, hopefully not too long, for fans to realize that TNT is the home of Big 12 and Big East sports, a home for those conferences.
I think that's big. Fluff, can you hear us? He's still trying to figure out the audio. Let's give him a second while he does. See, Anthony, to answer your question, no. I'm just wearing, it's an undershirt. It's a dry fit shirt. I got it when I went to, when the heck? I got it on one of these trips. I just need a dry fit shirt. Ride or die with the Texans in the state of Houston. Lil on BX, again, talking about the free throw shooting with Syracuse. Yeah, that was a big bullet that Houston dodged, and not too complicated. Says Syracuse legs were tired. I'm sure that affected those free throws as well. I mean, they didn't hit free throws. They got to hit free throws. That was a terrible clip. That was consistent throughout the game. But he not too complicated says they might not have been used to being as physical as they did. And it might have been a case for them where they ran out of gas after they had such a rally to force overtime. Because it looked like Houston was much more in control during that overtime period than obviously than they did in the last 2 minutes. But I would feel like Syracuse never really was a threat once they got into the overtime period. Houston looked more cool, calm, collected, and they executed what they wanted to down the stretch.
Syracuse came into the game as a team shooting about 60% from the free throw line.
So they're bad free throw shooting.
It got into their heads. So that happens, and it became contagious, and they missed a lot of free throws, way more than you would expect in a game. That's on them. They can look back at it and lament it and harp on it, and we would have done this, we could have done that, we had them, we should have beat the number 3 team. They didn't. They missed free throws. There are a whole bunch of games in history of college basketball where a team can say, if we'd have made our free throws, we'd have won. Fans of Houston Cougars basketball knows that quite well.
Yeah, I was about to say, we've been on the end of some games like that, and so that's part of the game. You got to make them to win it, and they missed them, and we made ours, and so that's the tell of the game. They're not free unless you make it. So we was able to do that, and he was able really just to make shots in the flow of the offense. A lot of Syracuse points seem to come off maybe offensive rebounds or just off of a broken down defense and attacking. And so in the overtime, I think that's how we're able to pull away. We were able to score and create what it was, that 4-point lead, and eventually winning by 4.
The Cougs had a lot of breakdowns defensively. So that's something to work on. As we said it earlier, Dan touched on it. The perimeter defense by everybody other than Emmanuel Sharp was not good enough. Something to work on. 38-24 in the paint for a Houston opponent is not good enough. as things work on. It's just, that's all right. It's November. I'm not going to say this. It's not likely that the team will go undefeated this year. And they might play well in a game and lose because the other team made more threes or made their free throws in that game. And we'll discuss it on Let's Rage Coogs after that. Lots to work on. Thank you to the 300 plus people watching us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Outstanding. Join us again tomorrow. Join us again Wednesday. And if you like football, join us Saturday. So, Let's Rage Coogs, as Dan said, Andy says it, I've said it. Let's Rage Coogs is the original post-game show for Houston Athletics.
I think Hunter describes it perfectly. This event in particular, it's less about, the outcome and coming away. It's more about kind of being a little bit of a resume booster and picking up wins where, in theory, right, every team that's in this event are high-end caliber opponents. It's only going to help you by the time March rolls around and you're comparing for seeding. Fluff, can you hear us?
Looks like he still can't hear us.
Yeah, that's odd.
That's weird. I don't know nothing's changed. We haven't done anything different. Fluff says, "Go Cougs." Let me. Let's give Fluff a chance to say something, and then we'll wrap it up with him, and then we'll come back for the three of us. How about that?
Sounds good. Let's see. Put him back up on the screen here. All right, he's on the screen, but I don't think he can hear us. But we can hear him. Can you send him a message so he talks, because we can hear him? And he dropped. Well, that's the thing about being live, technical difficulties. Plus, he's all the way in the East Coast at 8 o'clock, so we will see. Yeah, Kris, not too complicated, says if the Cougs play really well, they're not losing. Which in the Big 12, the Big 12, a lot of opponents. Shoot, even in the NCAA tournament, you could be playing really well, and that's the thing about it being a one and done event.
Even in his own words, really well. What if they're just playing well, and the opponent is playing really well? It's one and done. It's not a series. I said the same thing last year. If college basketball had a series of 3 out of 5, 4 out of 7, weren't too many teams last year that would have beat the Cougs in a series. Not too many teams this year that I would pick against them in a series. But it's not a series. Arizona looks to be very good right now. Purdue, with that 30-point drubbing they did on Texas Tech, was very impressive. There's some very good teams right now in November. I'm looking forward to the journey. Injuries will play a part. We'll see if injuries take down Braden Smith at Purdue, or some key player at Purdue, or somebody co-opete at Arizona, or heaven forbid somebody at Houston. That's the beauty of all this. That's why we enjoy the competition. We want the Cougs to win, obviously. But we want the Cougs to get those 6 wins at the end of the season. That's what I want.
Mr. Big Texco asked if we have any post-game comments from head coach Kelvin Sampson. They haven't sent the official email yet, so not at the moment. And I was trying to see if the players are accustomed.
He's talking.
Let me go to full person. No, and he just went back offline.
Just one of those
I
things
was
tonight. Hopefully it'll work tomorrow.
trying to see if they had a live stream for the Players Era had an official live stream. They do not for post game, so
They
we're
didn't
on
have one last
standby.
week. Yep.
That's something they're missing out. They should have the live stream. But
Andy, yes, it is. But let's go ahead and say it again. Deion has said it. I've said it. We're going to put out there in the universe. Another reason why we are asking for people, one person, multiple people, to help us get to Vegas to cover the Cougs games or more games in the Players Era event and provide post-game interviews with the Cougs coaches, with Coach Sampson and the Cougs players. Help us make that happen next year. 32 teams will be playing the Players Era Festival men's event next year. 32. Going to take 3 weeks to get it done. So we would love to be a part of that at some point, especially if it's the week of Thanksgiving. So if you think about us and win the lottery and you say, you know what? I want to give LRC $1 million. Email Andy and help make that happen. Or you say, well, you know what? My granddad was a lifelong Cougar. And before he passed away, he willed me some money and said, do it what you want. And you decide to do, you know what? I'm going to give money to Let's Rage Coogs. We'll take that too. But yes, Mr. Big Texaco said it right there. Our last statement is true. Players Era Championship, their goal is to make the Players Era event in November the March Madness equivalent in November for men's basketball.
I think they're doing a really good job at it. I mean, this felt like
the
intensity in this game felt higher than just a normal regular season game.
Agreed. And the crowd was pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's having it the week of Thanksgiving. I think next year, the week of Thanksgiving, the crowd would be pretty good. I'm curious to see where the game's going to be played weeks 1 and week 2 for next year's Players Era event. Will those be on campus and still be a part of the Players Era event? Because if all 3 weeks are in Vegas, I don't know any fans will be there for that.
Yeah, definitely not all 3 weeks. And then depending on how early they'll start, the attendance for those games that are not on Thanksgiving week, I don't think would be good. It's definitely not as how it is this week that they're doing it on Thanksgiving week.
So I think group play will be on campus, campus sites, which will probably benefit the higher seeded team like the Cougs. So that would be a good thing. Some folks might not like that, but it's one of the perks of being one of the first team to say yes to the event. Hey, we'll take that and keep it moving.
Yep,
Thank you very
all
much,
big, man.
I feel bad that we don't get Fluff's insight on the show. We got to figure out. I don't know if there's anything he can do or we can do. But
I wonder if it was just audio settings. It's a little weird because you could hear us at the beginning. Everything went good, and we'll double check real quickly. Once again, thank each and every single person that's taking the time out of their Monday evening to join us on this edition of Let's Rage Coogs, the original Houston post-game show, going back to 2022. I'm gonna start adding the year that we've been doing this.
Yeah.
This is Let's Rage
established.
Coogs presented. This is Let's Rage Coogs presented by the Saxenian family. So big thank you to Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor of this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. Also shout out to Star Pizza for being today's secondary sponsor. A big shout out to Mike and Jennifer Pittman, who have constantly been supporting Let's Rage Coogs. Really, both Mr. Saxenian and the Pittmans have been supporting Let's Rage Coogs essentially since going back to 2022 when we first started the show. Going back to Star Pizza with multiple locations throughout the Houston area, Star Pizza is your go-to stop before or after the game. Check them out online and on social media at Star Pizza HOU via X and Star Pizza Houston, Texas on Instagram. A final look once again at the stats of this game. For Houston, both Miles Uzan and Emmanuel Sharp led the way in scoring with 26 points each. When we talk about Kingston Flemings, like Fluff mentioned, he had 9 points, just a 3 of 11 shooting night, but he also had 6 rebounds, 6 assists in this game. Chris Teaneck, who's really struggled early, and it wasn't even a struggle. He wasn't really being aggressive looking to score. He had that flurry in the second half, and that's where he put up all his points. It started with him hitting a three-pointer, and then you saw him kind of get a little bit more confidence about him when it came on offense. He finished with 8 points and 12 rebounds in this game, and that was the bulk of the offense. JoJo Tugler, Isaiah Harwell, Sacco had 2 points each, and Chase McCarty came in and knocked down 1 3-pointer for Syracuse. The leading scorer was Tyler Betty, who had 16 points in the loss to Houston. And once again, Houston will play again tomorrow, 5 o'clock Central Time, against 17th ranked Tennessee, a rematch of the NCAA tournament a year ago, a rematch of the Elite Eight matchup. So, they're going to be ready to go. They've had that game circled since it came out, and it was official, trying to get some payback for the way last season ended for them.
And a rematch of two very good friends, head coach Kelvin Sampson and coach of Tennessee, whose name I just forgot right off the top of my head. I know it is Rick Barnes.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
So it should be a good matchup in November, and that's what it is. I know Big 12 was undefeated today on day one of the Players Era event. Overall, I haven't seen the records for the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, and the ACC to know who's the top, which conference has the best record so far. I don't know. It's still kind of early.
It seems like the Big 12 has done better in non-conference this year than they did last year.
Better than last year.
far.
I know the SEC has not been as dominant as they were last year. Last year was a magical year for that conference, for any conference, what they were doing. But I saw that 86-56 Purdue over Texas Tech. I saw that score.
Yeah.
That says a lot so, for Purdue and Texas Tech. But again, it's November. Texas Tech not going to fall apart after losing by 30 to Purdue, and Purdue's not going to run away with it and say, hey, we played our best game in November, so let's be done. They're not satisfied either. So I'm just enjoying top teams facing each other in November.
That's interesting, Hunter. So the Big Ten is up there. I know obviously Purdue's the headliner, but I haven't seen the rest of the programs. Who else in the Big Ten has done
Michigan
well this season?
State is doing well. So far, they're doing well. Michigan's doing well. Their top teams are doing well. But, Arizona's had 3 great wins so far this season for the Big 12. The way things are set up for the top seeds in the tournament, Arizona could be number 1 in the West in terms of region. Purdue in the Midwest, Houston in the South, and Duke in the East. I mean, it could work out just like that, region-wise, for location. It's one of those things it's one of those quirks. But that's for March.
Long way to go.
Long way to go. Next thing, we're going to be talking about Houston, Tennessee, Wednesday night here on Let's Rage Coogs.
That's what I'm looking forward to see. I'll see it's Tennessee, another tough physical team who's going to match us with intensity, with toughness, and like Chris alluded to, they're going to be looking to advance that blowout. The last time we've seen them, so I know they're going to be highly motivated, and so I'm excited to see that. I will go out on a limb and say Kingston Flemings won't have back-to-back subpar shooting games. I wouldn't say he had a bad game; he just had a subpar shooting game as far as the efficiency, how he was efficient throughout his first few games. So I expect him and Kris Gardner to play better as far as shooting wise, and then hopefully Emmanuel and Milos can pick up where they left off tonight.
That being said, that's pretty much going to do it for this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. Once again, big thank you to everybody that took the time to join us here live. If you are new to the channel, wherever you may be listening, whether it be on X, on Podsnama Jamma or on YouTube via the Podsnama Jamma YouTube channel or the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't done so, and tell a friend to tell a friend about Let's Rage Coogs. That way we can keep growing. And ultimately, the main goal is to be, like Kris said, in Vegas for these events in the future where it's just a given. So help us out just by sharing and continuing to have the support. Any little bit matters. Once again, if you are interested in potentially being a sponsor on Let's Rage Coogs, feel free to reach out via email, letsragecoogs@gmail.com, or of course you can always reach out to any one of us individually. Let's Rage Coogs since 2022. The original Houston postgame show. Big thank you once again to the Saxenian family and to Star Pizza for being a sponsor on tonight's show.
And I want to give Andy his flowers again. Andy had this idea. And Dan said, yep, makes sense. Let's do this. Because in H-Town, there is not a postgame show for college teams.
Started on Twitter Spaces.
And it's
the
grown
first edition.
since 2022. And we're trying to make it bigger and bigger. I would love for us to get on that same plane, that same level of the field of 68 when they have their tentacles all over college basketball. But I want it just for us. I want Let's Rage Coogs to be the post. I think I saw one of the commenters said, if LRC isn't there, then it hasn't happened. That's what I want more folks to think of. Think of it like that. Think of Let's Rage Coogs. Was Kris and Dan and Andy there and Fluff? Nope. Well, it doesn't matter. That's what I want us to get to. Help us make that happen.
And I hate Fluff had technical difficulties because his insight is unmatched. I mean, if you guys are just going to join us, you can't go anywhere where you got someone who played against the likes of D Rose and in the same breath can talk about he had open gym run with Hakeem Olajuwon. So his insight, someone who played professional pro at that level, is an all-time elite scorer, not only in Houston, but throughout his basketball career. And so we hate to hear all you guys who join us to get to see his the full element and what Fluff brings, but he'll be back with joining us tomorrow for sure.
And I'll wrap it up and give it to Pass Off the Day on. Subscribe to the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube. Closing it out for me. Since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective.
And as always, man, happy to be alongside you guys throughout this journey, which was established in 2022 with an idea of Andy. And we haven't looked back. We've been going and we won't stop. So on the upper, like Kris always says, join us again tomorrow after another Cougs win. And as always, go Cougs.